Welcome to Real Talk. We are here to have those raw, unfiltered conversations about things in life that matter the most. We're here to keep it real. I'm Pritha, a certified transformation coach. I empower women to break free from identities holding them back and step into their unstoppable 2.0 selves, unleashing their power to create the life they were meant to live.
And I'm Justine, a registered nurse and energy medicine practitioner. I empower healthcare workers to find calm amongst the chaos through education and energy medicine so they can thrive at work and at home. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready for some real talk.
Let's get started. Welcome back to Real Talk with me, Pritha, and your co-host, Justine. Today, we're diving into what they call the limbo or the transition phase. So we're going to get right into it. So I'm going to turn it to you, Justine, and tell all of us, how do you define that transition phase and why do people often feel stuck in it?
Well, for me, that transition phase or that limbo phase is that like in between stage where your old life is not working for you, either your old way of life, different mindsets, situations, or your environment, and you know that you have to leave it behind, but you're not too sure what that new way of life looks like yet, because you haven't really fully stepped into it. A lot of people enter this phase either after hitting their like proverbial rock bottom, either after like a loss of job, loss of relationship or a loved one, or even after like a series of multiple events that kind of catapulted you into this phase of something has to change. People in this phase can often feel very lost, empty, restless, anxious, or depressed, and you can even feel like you're almost at a loss of time. People often feel stuck in this phase because it's a period of complete uncertainty and discomfort. Your familiarity is really ending, and new opportunities haven't really taken their new form yet. It's really easy to feel very ungrounded because you're completely navigating the unknown with an uncertain path. And if you do kind of get stuck in these phases, that's where you can see those moments of like serious and chronic depression and anxiety. How would you define the limbo phase, Prita?
Justine, you hit a lot of the same things that I feel exactly the same about. So it's, after that initial shock wears off, it's all about self-discovery. So you're asking yourself exactly as you said, like, what do you do now? You have to face the unknown, as you said. But, for me, it was all about, I knew I wanted a fresh start. I knew I wanted more. I deserved more. But, in this phase, you may not know exactly what you want, but you know exactly what you don't want. And for me, it's more often I know what I don't want versus what I want. And it's the phase where, you're scared, you're full of nerves, and it can be confusing and it can be paralyzing. And you feel
Mhm.
stuck because that brain of ours, it's wired to hold on to certainty and familiarity, even if it just no longer serves you. And you're always battling these two forces. The mind's attached to the past, and then it's fear of the unknown future. And then we have this thing called that brain's mode network. It's called DMN, and it's constantly replaying memories and imagining scenarios and creating stories about what could have been. And this keeps us stuck and keeps our mind dwelling on the what ifs and what went wrong instead of focusing on what next. So for me, my transition phase, my two big ones in my life, I went through two big ones. I was married for 7 years and I got divorced, and that was a big transition phase for me. But the examples I want to give today is after my divorce, I had gotten engaged again. I was with somebody for 5 years and that broke off. And then at the same time, before my engagement broke off, I lost my job. I was laid off. Then my engagement abruptly broke off. And then I had bought this beautiful home that I now had to sell. So within 3 months, I was at a huge crossroads with three major significant areas of my life in a complete upheaval. And I felt lost. I was nervous and I was scared about my future, and definitely stuck with all these ruminating thoughts like, what did I do wrong? Like, could I have done something differently? Um, and I remember someone telling me, congrats that I had a chance to start all over again. And I remember nervously smiling because even though I knew this person was right, I wasn't ready to hear it.
Mhm.
And as I look back, that transition phase, was a huge awakening for me to step into that best version of myself. And, for anyone out there who's listening right now, like you're not alone. Like
Mhm.
you're not alone. And if this is resonating with you, just, start thinking about that. What's tying you back to that past version of yourself? And like, what are you afraid of letting go? So,
Mhm.
that kind of brings us into our next question, that we're going to explore is what is this phase? Why is this phase important for growth? And how do we embrace it?
Mhm. Yes. For me, well, this phase is really important for growth because it's where deep transformation happens. It really forces us to kind of reflect and recalibrate and ultimately just shed what is no longer serving us anymore. Again, whether that's like jobs, relationships, where you are. I mean, for me, it was kind of a lot of the same things that happened to you. You said, you had three really big things happen. And for me, it was the same. I had moved. I had sold a house that I had completely redesigned. I didn't even get a chance to decorate it yet. My marriage was in shambles, and I had started a new job. And yeah, the anxiety just kind of like hit me with a freight train. I was waking up every night just with severe panic attacks that kind of came out of nowhere. And I just did not know what to do with myself anymore. Like I knew that something had to change, but I didn't really know what yet. So in this phase, it really allows you to pause and process and let go and create space for new opportunities and new possibilities to come to you to emerge. Um, yeah, and it it's a really scary phase, like you said, because you don't really know what's going on. But once you have that awareness of where this is leading you to, it can be a lot easier to navigate because you know that something better is coming. You know that the reason that you're feeling this way is because your old way of life is not aligning with what you truly deserve and what your higher purpose is. So just really getting comfortable with that uncomfortable and sitting with these feelings is so incredibly important. And then that's where we go on to the how do we embrace this? It's really for me awareness and acceptance. We have to recognize that it's okay to be in this transition phase and remove that fear of the unknown. Because I mean, you're never really going to have like a clear cut path on where your life is going to be, like 40 years from now. It's kind of just enjoying that journey and figuring it out kind of every step of the way. And once we have that mindset shift, we're able to see these possibilities and these new opportunities that are available to us rather than just these roadblocks that are constantly getting in our way. And then once we have this awareness of just different like emotional patterns or different things that are keeping us stuck, um, and fully embracing exactly where you are, that's when exactly we can kind of see the new steps that are laid out for us and we can see kind of where we're being guided to in order to fulfill our cup and fulfill what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said there is it's exactly what I'm thinking too, because it's all about, to me, it's where the real growth happens. It's where that transformation and that true self-awareness happens. And as you said, growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens in those moments where you're forced to sit with the discomfort and reflect on what's next. And
Mhm.
yeah, like you get that inner chaos, the confusion, the fear, and the anxiety, and it sets in, but that's what you can't run from because you have to think of those setbacks and struggles as a signal that something big is about to happen. And I
Mhm.
know that's easier said than done because often, and I go through this a lot too, even like just with building a business, is when you're on a verge of a breakthrough and things feel like they're about to fall apart and you feel like you've lost momentum, that's happening because something's about to change.
Mhm.
A gear or something is about to shift. And when that stress creeps in, you're like, your brain's trying to seduce you to what feels more comfortable and what you're more familiar with. And that's where that inner chaos and anxiety and confusion and fear and that knot in your stomach comes from. So as you said, like just embrace that discomfort
Mhm.
because when you're too comfortable, you're playing it safe. And
Mhm.
playing it safe means you're not growing. So for me, I needed to find a new job. I need to figure out where I was going to live, and I had to brace starting all over again. So I was pissed. I was robbed. I
Yes.
felt robbed of that future that I envisioned. I used to wake up with like physical heartache and a nervous stomach, and I felt anxious, and I not wasn't sure what I was going to do. But what I knew for sure was that my soul wanted more. I knew,
Mhm.
I knew with every fiber in my being that I wanted more for myself, that I deserved more, and that I wasn't going through this for nothing. And I accepted what happened. I'm getting a little teary-eyed here. I accepted that this was a blessing in disguise, actually, and that I craved more for myself. So
Yes.
I don't know
And
why.
that's what we how we have to see it too. You know, anytime the
Yeah.
universe is really like shifting you, oftentimes we can think that like oftentimes we play the victim, right? Like this stuff is happening to me, this stuff is happening to me, but you know, there is that saying like life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And you're being put in these moments of uncomfort or discomfort in order to grow and to figure out like what else is out there for you. Like you said, your soul was calling you for something more. And oftentimes that's why people get stuck in these or get put in these transition phases is because their soul and their higher self is calling for more and they want you to get uncomfortable. It's like going to the gym. You know, you can't build muscle if you don't feel that discomfort. If you're not hitting that discomfort, well, you're not building your growth. You
Yeah.
know, you're just staying stagnant. So,
And
that's wonderful.
I think I'm getting a little teary and emotional because when I say this out loud and I realize of how far I've come and how this transition phase was such an awakening for me, I am
Mhm.
no longer that person I was after that breakup. Like everything has completely changed, and we'll go into that a little bit more, but the brain is constantly, what I've learned throughout my journey is like our brain is constantly rewiring itself based on new experience and thoughts. And it's during this transition phase that you really have the power to reshape those neural pathways in your brain, by
Mhm.
being more intentional with your thoughts and actions. So, you know, when the raw emotions settle down, I'm like, okay, well, the key question is, what do I really want? And who am I? For me, it was, who am I after the relationship? Who do I want to be?
Mhm.
Um, and this is like something with my clients I'm so passionate about, because I'm not the same person I was before the relationship. And I'm becoming the best version of myself and evolving every day in the most positive way. And I made a commitment to creating my best life. And, you know, as saying this out loud and talking to you, I think it just brought something out of me. So yeah, it's real talk.
Yes.
So
Yeah, exactly.
and for you know, those that are listening, like, you know, just ask yourself, after you've been through whatever it is you've been through, what have you learned about yourself since your breakup? And you
Mhm.
know, what strengths are coming up to the surface? Like, this is your growth phase, and it's leading you, I promise you, like it's leading you to somewhere new and better. It did for me, it did for you, I know, Justine, and this is the part that we have to embrace.
Yes,
So
yes, absolutely. Oh, yes, and one other thing too, like how do we embrace the limbo phase is like you said, like asking yourself those questions. So deep journaling questions, like journaling questions on self-awareness, just to kind of, yeah, get back to you. A lot of the times we kind of lose ourselves in the day to day with all the different tasks that we have. And it's like, do you even know what you like to eat? Do you even know what you like to wear anymore? Do you know what activities you like to do? Like really connecting and getting back to you know, who you are at the heart of it, like, and yeah, what you love.
yeah. So that brings us into our next question. Like, how can someone start moving towards the new life they want, even if they don't have it all figured out yet?
Yes. Well, first of all, you're never going to have a perfect plan. You're never going to have it all figured out. So it's really just day by day taking those baby steps to move forward into what you truly desire. So like we said, doing those journaling questions and getting clear on what you actually do want and focusing on what you do want and just staying on track and taking those little baby steps, like having little daily goals. And they don't have to be anything significant. It's not like you have to completely change your entire life and do like a whole new routine and add like an hour of workout and whatever, just small baby steps. Like if you have 2 minutes to do a meditation, do 2 minutes of meditation because 2 minutes is better than no minutes. And it takes consistency and practice. I say meditation and journaling questions are huge to get to kind of know where you want to go and get that alignment. And the meditation is absolutely necessary for clarity on where you want to go and your next steps forward. You need those moments of sitting in silence with yourself in order to be able to get the answers that you need to move forward. A lot of people are scared to meditate. They think that, they can't quiet down their mind. I have an incredibly busy mind. And I have learned to meditate. I used to think it was not possible, but I was able to get there. And it's honestly, it is baby steps, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and you just work your way up and do guided meditation to start. If you have a difficult time like turning your brain off, if your brain is very squirrely, the guided meditations really help to guide your focus, and teach you how to shut down and how to get into that state of like relaxation and awareness in order to get those answers that you need. So, yeah, just very, very small, actionable steps every day to get towards your goals. And don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself grace. If today you didn't meet your goals, don't beat yourself up. Just say, hey, we tried. Tomorrow's a new day. Move on. And that's all we can do.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to start before you feel ready. And it took me a little bit of time to rewire my brain to get into this mode of starting before I feel ready because I'm a perfectionist.
Mhm.
And I realized that the perfectionism is the enemy of progress. And I still battle this today, but I realized that you don't need to have every detail figured out to take the first step. Often, we get stuck, and I've done this many times where I'm just waiting for clarity or the perfect moment, but I realize now clarity comes through action. So,
Mhm.
as you said, just what is one small step that you can take today that aligns with where you want to be tomorrow? Simple. And as you said,
Yes.
if it's just you want to get in better shape, well, go for a walk for 15 minutes in between meetings, like go for a walk around the block, whatever that
Yes.
is. So just the key is being intentional though with those steps that you want to take. And it could be simple as just starting to get curious, joining a class, reaching out for sport. Each small action builds momentum. So for me, um, there's a lot that I did, and I just want to share a little bit of that because I started a nutrition coaching certification and I made a commitment that I was going to finish it. Um, when I had to list my house, I told myself that when my house closes, I wanted to travel and I wanted to travel on my own. I've never really traveled on my own before. So I booked a trip to Argentina and Brazil, and I did a tour. It was a tour for solo travelers, and I had an amazing time and I met some amazing new friends. And I'll be honest, I was nervous. It was my first time traveling without my ex, and I thought it sucked. I remember being on the plane, and I was sad because I did enjoy traveling with him. I
Mhm.
missed having that shoulder to lean on, when we're on the plane on the the flight was like 9 hours, and once I arrived, though, my nerves settled. And when I started to meet people in my group, it was amazing. And then, I started taking new courses and exploring new hobbies. And the one big thing for me that was so transformative was getting back into my Latin dance classes. So I've always taken classes with ex boyfriends. And then I stopped. I'm like, well, they weren't as interested in it. So we never stuck it out. We did one intro class and that was about it. So this time I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna go do it. So now I'm like 6 levels into salsa. I do bachata dancing, I do kizomba, and this is one of the best things I've done. I have a new community of friends. None of my core group of friends are, into Latin dancing, so I have a new community of friends. And what's beautiful about this is that I go dancing on my own.
Mhm.
I can go to socials by myself. Um, Anything is even somewhere I've never been before. I can go by myself because the goal of when you go is to dance, and everyone's there for the same reason. It's to dance, and
Mhm.
guys ask girls to dance, and now I'm fully comfortable asking a guy to dance. um and then I went to Spain this summer, and I was on my own for a bit, and I went dancing on my own in a completely foreign country, and it was amazing. And that trip on my own was amazing. I still, I like to get dressed up and go out for dinners. I
Mhm.
still got dressed up. I went out for dinners, enjoyed a glass of wine on my own, and ended up meeting people. And then, the biggest thing that came out of this breakup, which I will honestly say is the best thing that ever happened to me, was starting my own business. something I
Mhm.
never thought I'd be doing, and being on this podcast and, meeting a good friend like you and starting a podcast is something I never envisioned for myself. So, this, like when we talk about that transition phase and, being uncomfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, like for me, I've completely embodied this because,
Mhm.
and I'll tell everyone here, you need to be prepared for the wild ride. Like a high comfort level, as I said, it means you're playing it safe.
Yes.
So once you take that first step, you're going to be so proud of yourself. And I promise it's all about micro steps and
Mhm.
taking that commitment to yourself. It's the more action you take, the more confident you become, which then will motivate you to take more action. So, um,
Yes.
you know, the next question that we have out there is, Justine, what role does a coach play in helping people navigate transitions?
Well, a coach, in particular, an energy coach, which is what I am, plays a vital role in helping you navigate this transitional phase. For me, I offer perspective in helping you recognize where your energy is blocked or where it's scattered and assist you in helping you clear those blockages or pull back your energy back into your body. This will help you to be able to connect better with your higher self and to be able to see the path that is kind of laid out for you and what your next steps should be. We help guide you in setting intentions, creating awareness, finding clarity so that you can start to align with the life that you actually want, and also give you different tools for like emotional regulation, energy restoration, and grounding techniques to help you through these transition phases because you're not just going to have one transition phase. I mean, like, lucky if you do, but the majority of us have multiple transition phases. We have multiple rock bottoms. There's losses, there's uncertainty and everywhere in life. So this is where a coach can help you just give you the tools that you need in order to navigate through life with more like ease, grace, and clarity.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I want to say is, and I know I can speak for both of us on this, is we're both not new to coaching. Like I
Mhm.
sought help when I was married, in a career transition and, after my engagement broke, and I have a business coach as well. And I've always been open to coaching,
Mhm.
um, not coaching others, but open to receiving coaching myself because I think it's so valuable. And the biggest thing with coaching, that I found and what I do with my clients is keeping them accountable because you
Mhm.
might be listening to podcasts like this, self-help books, and you might even getting tarot card readings. I know I have. But sometimes consuming isn't the same as doing. And as coaches, that's what we do. We keep you accountable, and that's what's going to keep you moving forward. So for myself as a coach, I help clients really navigate those mental and emotional challenges with any type of transition and help them clear those blocks. Those blocks can be anything from breaking free from those limiting beliefs, those old identities you're holding on to, the validation seeking, the comparison, any type of patterns of self-sabotage that's holding you back and preventing you from stepping into that best version of yourself. So, you know, um, a lot of what I do is providing those tools and strategies, and holding up that mirror and reflecting onto you so that you can find those answers within. And
Mhm.
I cannot, overemphasize the importance that a coach can have in your life. It's
Mhm.
different, you have your friends, like we still like chat with my friends all the time. But when I was going through my breakup, no one, as much as my friends were there to support me, I felt like I was talking too much to them. Or, you know what? A lot of my friends, they're married with kids and they didn't understand exactly what I was going through at this stage in my life. So
Mhm.
I needed to talk to somebody who was completely unbiased. I'm not saying my friends judged me by any ways, but I just felt being more safe and more vulnerable with someone
Yes.
else.
Yes.
Um, and that, when I had my last coach, the one thing that I discovered, I had a lot of limiting beliefs, and I discovered what those patterns and behaviors were that were holding me back. And the one thing that I discovered is that I just needed to just start and the confidence will follow, versus for me, waiting to have the confidence to start.
Yes.
That was one
Sometimes you
big
just gotta
thing.
fake it till you make it with that confidence there.
Yeah. And that was, it's one big thing that I learned. So yeah, a coach is, the accountability is on a much higher level than I find,
Mhm.
than what you would get sometimes with a therapist. A therapist has there's a different role for a therapist. There's a different role for a coach. Um, and all I would say is, embrace it and try it out.
Yes, definitely. And that's not to say that if you have a therapist, like you can't have a coach and vice versa. I think a lot of them go hand in hand. Like even doctors, like I work closely with doctors, I work closely with physiotherapists. And I think it's really important to have a team behind you. And I love how you also touched on that, you know, how you have utilized coaches in the past and ditto as well. I've gone to therapy, I have a business coach. I've had an energy medicine coach as well to teach me everything that I know and to also find my blocks because we are very blocked to ourselves and our own limiting beliefs, right? We have blinders on when it comes to ourselves. So it is really good to seek out that additional help and just to know that, you know, we don't do anything on our own. Like we didn't learn how to walk on our own. We didn't learn how to, well, I mean, like, you know, whatever. But you know, we need help, we need guidance in all aspects of our lives. Like teachers have teachers, therapists have therapists, doctors have doctors. We need somebody to help us. And that's not a bad thing. It's just we're gaining our community of support. We are human beings. We need a community. So it's important for you to find that community.
Yeah, I know, it's so true. I mean, in closing now, I would say that, transitions, can feel like you're in this never ending state of a limbo, but just realize it's actually a very powerful time for growth and healing. And whether it's through like the mindset work or energy healing, embracing this phase is an opportunity rather than a setback that can really help you move forward to the life that you truly want. So we just have to remember we don't need to have everything figured out. It is about taking those small micro steps, and taking that first step is all that you need to do. That's the crucial part.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, at the end of the day, we are the co-creators of our own story and we can create our own happiness or we create our own suffering. And really how long you want to suffer is up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to everyone listening, thank you for joining us today. And if you're in that transition phase and you're feeling stuck, remember that it's all part of the journey. So stay tuned, for our next episode. Until next time.
Yes. And always reach out, please, if you are struggling.
Yes. Until next time, just take care of your mind, your body, and your energy, of course. So
Bye.
thank you for joining us today on Real Talk. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to explore in future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We're here to support you every step of the way. You can connect with us on social media. You can find me at Breakthrough with Pritha.
And myself at theintuitive.nurse. Until next time, keep moving forward and remember, you have the power to create the life you truly deserve. See you next time.